Okay, so do we use the general journal anymore then? For what? Yes, exactly. It's for anything that doesn't fit in one of those 4 journals we just went through, still goes in our general journal. So for example, what goes in our general journal still? All our AJs, our closing entries, and then anything weird that comes up, we'll have a couple of those today that don't specifically fit in one of those 4 journals. Otherwise, you just go straight to those journals. Now, stick with me here. In these special journals, how often do I post to the ledger? I'm sorry? You do, you've got to total that thing up. And what's that called when you prove that you have enough debits and credits, or you have the right amount of debits and credits? What was that called that we did? Foot and cross foot. Right? So before you post, you got a foot and cross foot to make sure you've got the right amount or the equaling amounts of debits and credits. Okay, last piece of review, and then we'll take a peek. What is, okay, how do I post this? So accounts receivable, accounts payable, inventory, and sometimes fixed assets are examples of what? Go ahead.
Oh, like what
Those accounts, we're now learning that they have little mini accounts underneath them called what? What are the little mini, Dylan? Subsidiary ledgers. So accounts receivable, I've got 2,000 people that owe me money. Right? Those are subsidiary ledgers, right? Lance and Andrew and Hayden are the names of subsidiary ledgers. And they all tie into my accounts receivable. That's called a what? Control account. Okay. So that's really just what we're going to practice today. That's the whole flipping chapter is subsidiaries, controls, and our special journals and how we make this all work. In your world where, you know, especially as young people, you're going out into the work world, you are not going to sit with your 5 pieces of paper like we just made. But the reason we're doing this is that's what's all going on behind the scenes. And I guess you just need to understand the repetitive nature of that. Okay, so, and I did something with my special journals. Oh, there. Okay. So let's just keep going. So to pick up where we left off, we did March 1st, we did March 2nd, and we did March 6th. I starred the 3 that we did. And now we're gonna, I asked you guys to do, I think, another 4. And then we're just gonna spend the rest of the day slogging through this because that's what we really need to learn from this chapter, okay? So I'll start over there with Lance, or down here with Lance. Purchased 1,200, and so I've got my 4 journals sitting here to use. I purchased $1,230 of office supplies on credit from Gable Company, terms net 30. So first off, what journal am I in?
In the purchase.
Yep. So walk me through what you wrote. I've got to catch up.
Okay, so, you know, I put the date, March 3rd, the account is Gable Co. For David invoice, I wasn't sure if I should just put March 3rd again.
You know, I think let's just, unless they give you something different, let's just use the date of the transaction.
Okay. They did terms net 30.
So what does that mean when it's net 30 without the 215 or the 110 or whatever?
There's no eligible discount.
There's no discount at all. Very good. Okay. Nothing in posting reference. Go ahead.
And then accounts payable for 1,230.
Yep.
And then office supplies.
Okay. Excellent. Andrew, on the 3rd, I also sold merchandise on credit to Linda Witt. Invoice number 855, 10,200. The cost of the merchandise was $5,800. Which journal am I in?
Well,
I don't think so. Am I touching cash? Okay, let's back up and go through this one more time. When you're trying to figure out which journal to go in, your first question that we learned on Tuesday was you ask yourself what? Does it touch cash, in or out? Does this transaction touch cash, in or out? Okay, so that's your first question to yourself. So it doesn't. We sold merchandise on credit. So what journal am I in? Sales journal. Yep. Okay, so walk me through what you wrote.
Debited account receivable 10,000. Credited sales 10,000. Debited 5,000.
Yep. Yep, and then you got to write down the invoice number and the name of the customers, Linda Witt, and the date. Okay, we did the 6th. Hayden, now we're on the 9th.
You're in your purchase.
Okay, I'm sorry, let me read that. So on the 9th, I purchased $21,850 of office equipment on credit from Spell Supply, terms net 30. Okay, so did it touch cash? No. So that means you're either in purchases, sales, or general. Which one did you choose?
I chose purchase.
Because it's on credit, exactly. Okay, so 3/9, Spell Supply, and okay. All right, so what did you do over here in the body of the purchases journal?
So I debited box equipment.
Okay, is there an office equipment column? No. Where do you want that to show up when we're done with the whole transaction in your financial statements? Yeah, of course. You want it in your balance sheet under office equipment. That's not one of the columns. So what do you have to use? Which column? Other accounts. And then we have to specify it, don't we?
So when you say other accounts, you just have to say like office equipment.
So we've got to put the number in here, which is what?
21,000.
Yep. So that's my debit, right? What's my credit then? Yeah. And then here's the scoop, you guys. When we post out of this column, we have to go over here and figure out what account specifically it is. So this is one of those great examples where we've got a subsidiary ledger we need to post to, and what? A general ledger account. So you've got to actually write them both in here. In other words, we have to post to our subsidiary ledger because we owe Spell Supply money, right? We also have to debit our what? Office equipment. And we're going to do that when we're done with this.
So if you would
then we've got two postings. We've got to post to our subsidiary ledger. And only in the case, Hayden, where we've got something in the other account column, do we need to go back here and pick up the general ledger account. Because all these other columns tell us specifically which general ledger account to go to, right? Okay, great. All right, so that was the what, 9th? Okay. Dylan, on the 10th, we sold merchandise on credit to Jovita Albany, invoice number blah, 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 for $5,600, and the cost was $2,900. Where do I go?
They are debit and sales credit and $2,900.
Okay, and are we still walking ourselves through, did this impact cash every time? Or do you feel sophisticated enough? We don't need to do that. 8:56 and the 10th. Okay, so now you guys all have your journals out. We're going to start working through this together, okay? So I see, are some of you doing this online and some of you doing it by hand? Didn't we make them all by hand? Or you guys, I guess, weren't here? Did everybody make theirs by hand? Okay, so pull them out and let's just start slogging through this. Really, it's the best way to do it. Okay, who is that? Jovita Elbity. Okay, so who am I on? Trevor. Let's do this one together. We haven't done one of these. On the 12th, I received payment from Min Cho for the March 2nd sale, less the discount of $336. What journal am I using? Yep, I sure am. Okay. So the first thing now that we need to do, we got to get out our cash receipts. And just for a second, take yourself away from this journal and just tell me up until we learned about special journals, when somebody pays us within the sales discount period, what 3 accounts were we using before? You know, you're fine, but go ahead, Trevor. Exactly. So my question was, what 3 accounts are we using? We're using cash because we're getting cash. We got to pull the AR off the book. So we're crediting AR and we've got a sales discount. So please go look at your cash receipts journal and see if you guys can figure this out. You've got to go pick up this. You've got to go get the sales information from the sales journal, right? So go look at Min Cho. How much do they owe us? What was the discount, blah, 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 and see if you can get this into your cash receipts journal. And I will do the same. My phone, my calculator. Oh, they gave us the discount. We didn't even have to calculate that, did we? We have to calculate how much cash we got. Okay, so what I think I have to do in my cash receipts journal, they paid me within the discount period. I've got to pull the entire AR off. They calculated the discount for me. And the amount of the AR minus the discount is what they wrote me a check for. Does that make sense? And I entered Min Cho in here. Lance, can you walk me through if I was all done and this was all I did all month in my cash receipts journal? Under amount credited on the 6th versus amount credited on the 12th, tell me the difference in posting between those 2 lines. You guys all look at this and try and figure it out yourself too, because it's different. It's very different. Now I'm getting ready to post. What's the difference between the 6th and the 12th? Well, yeah, I'm going to total my columns, but on the 6th, which column did I use? Obviously, I used cash because I'm in the cash receipts, but what was my other column heading? Yeah, I used other accounts.
Okay,
Remember, and we just did that in the purchases journal. So when you've got something under the other accounts column, what do you have to go do? You've got to figure out which general ledger account to post directly to. In the second one with Min Show, am I going to a control account or a subsidiary ledger? Subsidiary. I've got to go right to Min Show's little individual account. And then I'll post the total under AR. I'm sorry. I do. Yep, I do. And yeah, let's just keep going and then we'll post. Okay. I think I'm just trying to get you kind of thinking along those lines. Okay. Dylan, you're up on the next one. On the 13th, I sent Van Industries a check, or I sent them check number 416 in payment of the March 1st invoice less the discount of $872. So first off, let's talk about what journal you think we're in, and then let's go through and review what accounts we think we're using.
yeah, so cash payments.
Clearly cash payments because I'm cutting a check. Okay, forgetting this now and just taking us back 3 weeks. If I'm in the general journal, what 3 accounts am I using?
Accounts payable, cash, and sales purchases.
Okay, very close. Cash, certainly, I'm writing a check. AP, certainly, I'm pulling it off my books. We didn't have a purchases discount account. Everything to do with inventory goes what? Just right into inventory. Cost of inventory, purchase discount, purchase returns, freight in, that all goes right into the inventory account. So with that in mind, let's go get our cash payments journal and see if we can record this payment on the 13th. Is this our first one in the payments journal? Yeah, okay. 313. Check 460. I'm gonna have to look up what they want in that other column. Cash payments. Account debited. I don't think I necessarily need anything in here. I think this is one and the same. Okay, how much cash am I paying? And how much AP? Is that what you guys got? So really the only trick to this was I had to go figure out which, how much I owed them, right? They're doing the calculation on the discount for me. Okay, everyone okay with this one? The only thing that's remotely tricky to me on this one is I have to, and that's why I'm taking you through, like back in the old days when we used a general journal, what 3 accounts did we use? And I would kind of go through that process before I look at my special journal. Otherwise, it's like, what the heck's all going on here? I come into it and I know I need cash, I need AP, and I need to take the purchase discount as a credit to inventory to reduce it, right? Okay. All good? Stop me if I'm going too fast. Cool. All right. Hayden, I'm on the 13th now for the second journal entry. I received payment from Linda Witt for the March 3rd sale, less a discount of $204. Does this impact cash?
Yes.
Cash receipts or payments? Okay, now I'm getting money from somebody that owes me and they've paid within the discount period. So what 3 accounts am I hitting?
You got cash.
Yeah,
Sales discount
yeah,
and account.
yes, sir. Go book that on the cash receipts journal. She paid me, she owed me some money, and she paid it within the discount period. Oh, yeah. Yeah, obviously, the first thing you gotta do is choose which journal you're in. Okay, how much did she owe us? 10,200. Yep, okay, 10,200. And what was the discount? 204? And so read me that number again, please. 96. I knew what you were saying. Cash receipts. Great. I'm going to just keep going. Okay. We probably won't end up doing all these, but let's just do enough repetitive so we feel good with it. Okay. Then on the 14th, I purchased $32,625 of merchandise from the CD company, terms 210, net 30. Andrew, does that transaction impact cash? On the 14th, I purchased merchandise. Nope. So what journal am I in? I'm not in one of my cash journals. I've got to go to my what? Sure. So enter that purchase on the 14th, please. CD company. I guess we're just using this. Is everybody good with that? Jump in if you need anything, Veronica. Okay, on the 15th, I issued a check, number 417 for $18,300. This is kind of confusing. The payee is payroll, and I'm paying sales, salaries, expense for the first half of the month. Okay, let me kind of explain that. In or a lot of companies, you've got your main checking account, but then you also have a checking account just for payroll. And the reason is it's not quite as critical anymore because most of us get electronically paid now. But in the old days when we got, physical checks, it was a way of ensuring internal control that somebody couldn't alter a payroll check. So you only have, payroll's $18,300. That's all there is in the payroll account. So if somebody tried to write a check for more than that, it would bounce, you'd be alerted. Okay, so who am I on? Lance. I'm writing a check to this payee, i.e. another checking account called payroll. Does it impact cash?
Yeah.
Yep, so which journal am I in?
Oh, you're in,
Cash payments.
sorry, I was like registering the word.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So give it a shot. The account it's going to, I'll just give you a hint, isn't in one of the titles of the column headings. You've got to use other accounts.
So I did March 15th, 417 payroll, and then cash credit 15,300, and then other accounts.
But under account debited, you have to tell me if anything's in the other accounts column. I have to be able to go and look back and figure out what the heck account do I put it in the general ledger to. When they tell us specifically it's sales, salaries. It is wage expense, but in my company, I've got it broke up, right? General and administrative wage expense, sales, salaries expense. $18,300, yeah.
Yeah.
Credit cash. And it doesn't nice and neatly fit in one of the other titles, so it has to go into the special other accounts. Everyone okay with that? All right, cool. Trevor. Now I'm on the 15th. And the cash sales for the first half of the month are $34,680. And the cost was $20,210. And I'm recording these. What journal do you think I'm going to go to record my cash sales for the first half of the month? Cash receipts. So go to your cash receipts journal, you guys. I'm a retailer. So anytime I make a sale, whether it's cash or credit, I've got 2 journal entries. So go see if you can figure that one out. We haven't done this yet. I've got to think about this for a sec. Okay, debit cash. No. No. You're safe once you found the right journal, you're safe journalizing the whole transaction in it. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, so like we did the cost on that one,
When you do that already.
Yeah, to be honest, in a real business, this would happen every day. At the end of the day, you close out your till or whatever you want to call it, and that's all going to happen automatically. They're making it sound like we're accumulating all this data and we're only doing it twice a month. Probably not realistic. I'm going to take my cash to the bank every day, aren't I? No, you don't have that sitting around in your business. Heck no. Okay, good question. All right, let's go do a couple more. Let's see, Hayden, on the 16th, I purchased $1,770 of store supplies on credit. So that's different from office supplies. That's like my, I don't know, lighting and shelving and stuff like that. On credit from Gable Company, terms net 30. So did this impact cash? Nope. So what am I in? That's for true. So go to your purchases journal, please. Enter this from the 16th. And let's see what we got. What am I doing together? 1770. And accounts payable. And because I don't have a column set up called store supplies, what do I have to do? It's that I've got to go to my subsidiary ledger when I post, because Gable Company, or I now owe Gable Company $1,770, but I also have to go to the general ledger account when I post, because it's in the column called other accounts.
So when you say that, do you mean you have to jump back to the?
So we're going to do probably another 3 or 4 journals, and then we're going to go post, and I'll show you. Yep. Okay. Trevor, I am on the 17th. I've returned $2,425 of unsatisfactory merchandise that I had purchased from the CD company. And they give me an allowance. In other words, I'm reducing accounts payable. I have to think about this. So does that impact cash? Let's start there. Does that impact cash at all? I don't think so. Is it a purchase on account or a sale on account? It's not, it's a return. You do, but if you go to your purchases journal, there's no debit to AP. Excellent. Did we even make a general journal? Okay, better make a general journal. And then let's go. I had to think about that for a second. I'm like, where the heck does that go? So Veronica, we haven't made our general journal, so we need to do that. And that's just, you know, same. Where am I gonna do that right here? And Andrew was asking me a question earlier, just so that everybody hears this out loud and processes that when you make your journals, always label them straight away. Purchases journal, sales journal, cash payments journal. So, you know, for obvious reasons. Okay. The date, description. We're going to have to think about this one. And debit and credit. Okay, so for sure we know we need to reduce our AP. And then the heck? What did we do originally? Debited inventory, credited AP, right? So now we just need to reverse that, right? I'm thinking about this for a sec. Sure we do, because we don't have the inventory. We can't sell it, so it's not in our warehouse. And we don't owe them the money. But on the AP, you're gonna have to hit both the accounts payable and the subsidiary ledger, or they're not gonna stay in balance. So you've got to reflect that under your description. I'm gonna have to hit accounts payable and I'm gonna have to go to my subsidiary ledger. And then I'm gonna credit inventory. Okay, we're gonna do one more and then we're gonna start to post and then we're gonna run a trial balance, okay? Okay, and so does everyone see why I did this whole slash thing and I have two things here? Okay, let's just review really quickly. How does a subsidiary ledger tie into a control account? Exactly, you're not gonna have 16,000 accounts in your AR on your balance sheet. But what's the critical thing at the end of each period? Your subsidiary ledgers have to what? They have to equal your control account. So can you ever go do anything in one place and not do it in the other? You know, obviously not. So when I post, I've got to hit my control account of AP, but I've also got to hit my subsidiary ledger of the company itself, don't I? Does that make sense? Ask a question if it doesn't, or shake your head, yes, it does. Okay. Anytime you hit AR or AP, the control account, you got to hit the subsidiary. Anytime you hit a subsidiary ledger, you got to hit the control account or they're not going to tie out at the end of the month. All right, let's do one more. I'm going to pick one that's hard. Let's pop down and do the 20th. Let's see. On the 20th, I received payment from Hovita Albany for the sale of March 10th, less the discount of $112. So you choose the journal, enter it, and then we're gonna move to the next step. Gotta go figure out how much they owed me. Discount was 12. Right. Okay. So let's just pretend that's all that happened all month. So the next thing, does anyone know what we have to do next? That's all that happened all month. We have to tally up. You need to foot and cross foot your cash receipts and cash payments and purchases journal. It does it, and I'll show you the sales journal. You don't really have to do because the columns are debit credit columns, aren't they? Okay, so tally up your sales journal first. mean, you don't have to do a formal foot and cross foot because the debit and credit's all in one column, isn't it? And then when you're done with that, let's just go up and put the page number. Let's say this is the sales journal, page 1. Because we're going to need to use that when we post. Okay. Now, next question. Do the easy ones first. Is there anything to foot or cross foot on a general journal? No, so I'm done with that. All right, let's do our purchases journal. Total it, and then I'll walk you through the foot cross foot, and then I'll leave you to do it on the other 2 journals on your own. So let's just tally this up, and then I'll remind you how to foot and cross foot. And this is how you'll catch if you made any errors. Okay, did y'all get the same numbers I did? All good? Cool. Now we've got to do that little thing where we can, like, before we post, we need to prove that I'm ready to rock and roll. And this is the format, if you recall. Debit column and credit column. And then you just list everything you're going to hit and make sure they equal. So on this guy, debits and credits. So first column AP, am I debiting it or crediting it? Yeah. Okay, so just go down through it and foot and cross foot it. With the other accounts column, you can't just put something called other accounts. You got to list the individual accounts you're going to go hit. Right? And this ensures that you did all of your tally correctly. Okay. Go ahead.
Why do you separate the other accounts?
Because are they going into the same general ledger account?
So
No, they're not. So when I post, I gotta take them to two different accounts, don't I? Tax 225 plus. 30. And that's all cross-putting is. It's just a little proof to yourself that, okay, that works. So do that, please. A little exercise with your cash receipts and your cash payments. And then I'll show you what's next. Okay, so I'm going to approve that. Nothing tedious about this. Crap, mine's off. Ugh. Oh, it is. Thank you. That's exactly what's wrong. And yeah, that's why we do the cross foot and foot. Because do you want to get it all the way into your journal and then realize you screwed something up? Yep, and that was exactly the amount. Okay, got the cash receipts. Cash payments, there's not very much going on. Okay, phew, jeez. Okay, the fun continues. Now we get to post. I need to stretch. I get it. Okay, so this was my cash payments, pretty straightforward right there. There wasn't that much in that one. Cash receipts, I actually found an error. I got all the way to the end and my footing and cross footing didn't balance because I had misadded my sales discount column. So looks like here's the numbers for that one, or cash receipts, excuse me. Okay, so you understand the process. Even if you're not there, let's keep moving. Okay, so now we're going to go down. Veronica, are you with us? Yes, great. I love that little thumb. It makes me feel like it's all happening. Okay, so where did they give us? Okay, here we are now on this. Open the following general ledger accounts, and we're just going to use T accounts. So yes, we need a whole nother piece of paper. And we are doing just what they're asking us to on page 280, number 1. Open the following general ledger accounts: cash, AR, inventory, and they give us a beginning balance, office supplies, store supplies, office equipment, AP, notes payable, capital with a beginning balance of 10 grand. You can read this as well as I can. There's about 12 T accounts you need to set up. Okay. So we're not going to do the full general ledger. We're just going to set up T accounts.
What's the best way to open like a subsidiary?
We're going to draw those below and show how they tie in once we open our GL. All right, 10 grand. I think inventory and capital are the only two that have beginning balances. Sales. What balance does sales discount have again? Right, the debit or credit?
What is it?
Sales discount? Excellent. Excellent. Odds. And sales. Salaries. Expense. Probably unfathomable to you guys, but we did used to do all this by hand. And then it asks us to open the following AR subsidiary ledger accounts. There's 3 clients. And open the following AP subsidiary ledger accounts, and there's 4 vendors. So I'm just going to kind of do this. I'm going to write AR and AP. And these are just little T accounts that are going to fit into our control, okay? And they're just named either the client or the vendor. And they're just alphabetized. Ovita. Yeah, okay. So now we need to post. I'm going to walk you through the sales journal and then the cash receipts journal, and then I'm going to have you post them all. Finish posting. What did I just say? Sales. Oh, and the general too. Okay, so go get your sales journal. We've proved that our totals are correct, and so now we just need to get them to our ledger, and then obviously we're going to do our trial balance and do our financial statements, right? So take your account, your debit to accounts receivable and your credit to sales directly to the ledger, and then your debit to COGS and your credit to inventory directly to the ledger. And then don't forget to post the subsidiaries to the little subsidiary AR accounts. I'm going to start with the total, 32,600. I know that's got to go to AR debit, so let's do that. And it's got to go for credit to sales revenue. Yep, same, because that's just one column, same number. And then same with your debit and credit to COGS and inventory, but for the, obviously the cost number. So now I've gotten my big, and in the real world, you'd have numbers. So it would tell you, you know, these are the numbers of the accounts you posted to, but I'm not doing that here. Don't forget now, you've got to go into the individual subsidiaries and show the 3 people specifically that owe us money, Mincho, Elwit, and Hovita Albany, right? Down here. Because we've got to make sure at the end of the day that our subsidiaries equal our control, right? 200 in Havita. No, Min Cho, 16.8. Okay, so I feel pretty good about that. Throw that to the side. Grab your general journal. You've only got one journal entry to post here. It goes directly to your, general ledger, but you've also got a subsidiary to worry about here, don't you? So go post that. Inventory. And then also I've got a debit, the CD company. Okay. All right, purchases journal. Have at it. You've got to post these three big ones. With other accounts, you have to go to the individual ones. And then anything that's in the AP column, you got to get to your subsidiary too. Inventory. Office supplies. Office equipment and 1770 the store supplies. Right, so with my other accounts, remember, I've got to go individually to the general ledgers, don't I? It's in my March 16th, right? So that's anything that's under other accounts, you have to post individually.
I was just looking for that.
Oh, it's right here.
And then,
Right here. So anything, Andrew, in this column, anytime you have something called other accounts, you can't just post the total. You've got to go figure out what the components are, right? Because they may or may not be the same. Okay, then don't forget, you've got to go post to your subsidiaries. So go do that. So 2150. CD 32. 25. And Gable. Okay. Question?
subsidiaries,
Subsidiary,
those are all just
the little mini accounts
okay,
that when we're done, these things have to all tie to our big number up here, don't they?
okay.
Okay, cool. All right, finish. Post your cash payments and your cash receipts. I'm just gonna let you do that on your own, and then I'm gonna give you an assignment for Tuesday and send you on your way. Salaries. Okay, that's done. It is, and I know that because I go down here and then I travel it over and I see, oh, notes payable, right? Anything in the other accounts, you've got to enter one by one. And don't forget, this one's tricky. You got a debit COGS and credit inventory, don't you, on your cash receipts? And then don't forget your subsidiaries. Okay, here's what I'm leaving you, or here's what, let's finish this off. We got 5 more minutes. Okay, did everybody get everything posted? Okay, go ahead and finish up. I'm going to give next set of instructions for those that are done. Well, you tell me, what do you think you have to do now? Our last step's going to be to do a trial balance before we do our financials. What do I have to do with all these big old T accounts? Yeah, so start doing that. The fun never ends. Well, actually, it does technically end. You do your financial statements and then you start this all over again the next month. Anything that just has one transaction, you can just double underline. That's what I got. Is that what you guys got? 86225. Yeah, I got 45618. Does anybody owe us money? Look down at your subsidiaries. Nope, and that's what this says. Who, okay, and then who do we owe money to? 3 of the 4. Okay. You have to prove that your AP subsidiary ledgers equal your control account. Okay, you had a reading quiz that you did, I think Tuesday night. You've got your homework. I'd have to go look. I think it's due like tomorrow or something, maybe. Saturday, okay. We have one more chapter left. We have the final. The final is some multiple choice, and then just a full set of transactions, worksheets.